Is such a gift, a very unique gift, and we're here because we matter. Here I am reading a book about the beauties of Nigeria, projecting Nigeria's unique selling points. Imagine, I'm reading about people, some who have long gone, and some who are still here, who have made their mark in different endeavour pursuits in Nigeria, bringing Nigeria to the fore, not just on the continent, but also in the world. And when you have time to read, it's good to enrich your knowledge and spread what you are learning. And it's time to continue with our discussion that we began yesterday, talking about preparing for retirement and life itself in retirement. We'll set the tone again today with our background feature.
In Nigeria, retirement starts at 60 years of age, though the Nigerian Labour Congress is calling for a review of civil servants' retirement age and years of service in the public sector to 65 years. However, there is no specific age to wait for before preparing for retirement. You can prepare for retirement even in your early 20s. The earlier, the better, so says the experts.
Retirement, by my conception, is perhaps a withdrawal of your service from one employer or a service provider to another service. I say to another service because as long as there is life in somebody, he should continue working. So I see retirement as a transition from one service to another service. It could be a higher service. It could be reduced tempo in terms of service.
Rest, they say, is the reward of labor. It doesn't matter how long you work. For someday, you will have to take a break and retire. What type of houses should be in mind ahead of retirement?
Right from the day one gets his independence in quote, that is to say that you are no longer living under your parents. Maybe you have graduated from the university and you are now going to fend for yourself. You should begin to think about a house of your own. Now, a house of your own in the sense that a house you can buy and call it your own. But the problem we have in this country, if I may extend further, is that people do not think they have a house except it is a house on which they can match the ground itself. That is to say, you have a plot. But that concept is really, really very wrong. But for example, if I'm in a block of flats that I can pay for over time, right from the day I started working, and over time it becomes my own, that is a house.
After spending decades working in a career, the time comes to slow down and enjoy your retirement. The type of housing that is right for your retirement will depend on your personal situation and lifestyle. Unfortunately, many people build houses that become too big for them when they retire.
If you know you don't have an investment that will keep people around you to maintain the house for you after retirement, then think of having a house that you can manage. 2 bedrooms, that one for you and your wife, and one for a visitor in case the visitor comes. Because we are in Africa, you cannot prevent visitors from coming. And if visitors come to you, you will not like to go and sleep in a hotel. They want to stay in your house. So 2 bedrooms, one for you and your wife, and one for the visitor. Or at best, 3-bedroom house. That is a house you can manage after retirement.
Having your loved ones around you help you cope with the challenges of retirement. You need their support when the need arises.
Retirement for me should be a blessing. That if you related with people very well while you are in service, the people you related with, will respond to your needs. You don't even need to beg anybody to respond to your needs. Some people continue to stay in government office, changing the dates of their birth, changing their documents so that they die in the office. It doesn't pay anybody.
Retirement is real, so preparing for it becomes inevitable. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal will be preparing for retirement.
Preparing for retirement is very critical, but what we've come to learn from those who have first-hand experience is that there's hardly any accurate way to prepare, but your hands should be on deck and you should be aware of where you're going and how you are going to comport yourself and your family while you are in retirement. We'll take another feature which talks about mental adjustment to retirement. Let's learn.
There is indeed a time and a season for everything. A time to work and a time to retire from active service. Mr. Pauline Inorua, Chairman, National Union of Pensioners, Edo State Chapter, who retired 23 years ago, shares his experience with us.
As long as you are in the service, I'm going to contemplate that there will be a time I will leave the service on retirement. Especially the last 10 years.
The government can help to prepare the individual out of concern for their employees.
Most of the time, the employee usually has what his dream is. It's only you that know your dream. And that is why for people who are in the retirement age, 2 to 3 years before their retirement, their establishment allows them to go for training.
You are not paid as it should be. Government pays a pittance, I want to say. You have to save from it. You have to ensure that your children go to school. At least train them up to university level. For instance, you may retire and you may not get your retiring benefits. Those are the hazards you face. You have 6 months given to you to prepare for your retirement. All the documents you have to write, you have to write all of them, send them to government.
Okay, so that is
but
something
within these 6 months, you are supposed to get your gratuity. Your gratuity is the first payment that should be made to you. And immediately you stop receiving a salary this month, next month, you are on pension payroll.
Before you leave the service in Edo State, all your documentation have been processed and you earn your pension. What is left is your gratuity. Again, in Edo State, it's not even a challenge. It's either you are in the contributory pension scheme, you are told by your pension fund administrator when you are expected to draw periodic benefits down. I think I'm looking forward with excitement to that. And that's what most civil and public servants should look onto.
Is it possible to plan for retirement early?
Before I retired, I was not afraid that there would be any problem. One, I've been able to train up my children. Before I retired, my first daughter got an appointment with an oil company in Port Harcourt. What she was saying to me as a worker over there to her father was almost the same thing I was receiving.
Some, while in civil service, they really had no idea of what they wish they want to do. They were just going to office, mark time, mark register, sit down. At the end of the day, they go home. So when that time comes for them to disengage, they cannot pinpoint anything that, I would love to pursue this. So after retirement, you should continue to find something to make you active. Because if one is not active, the tendency is that the brain start degenerating And the areas of degeneration of the brain start with memory. The person will start losing memory. And for people who have been used to abusing drugs, it's not good to consume hard drugs after retirement.
Preparing for retirement and life after retirement are two inevitable phases of the life of an employee. And so, with well thought out plans and some professional guidance, and of course, the grace of God, all should be well.
Mental health is so key. Mental health is so key. In fact, that's the platform, that's the cradle of every exceptional thing that will happen in our lives. Let's get to chat with Dr. Felix Oyari. Dr. Felix Oyari is retired but not tired. Retired from formal service,
yes,
but you are giving your service continuously every day. Welcome to Weekend Deal.
Thank you very much and good morning.
Great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you.
We're talking about preparing for retirement, and then again about life in retirement. And some say, can one really prepare for retirement? Is it possible? Did you prepare for retirement adequately?
I did, but there are factors you cannot, that are beyond your control. People hardly prepare, but it's good to prepare.
As best you can.
It's good to prepare, because retirement will come. Whether you prepare or you didn't prepare, there will be an end to active workforce when you'll be left with income is not coming. And if you didn't prepare to take care of the financial risks, security, that's a problem. But you can prepare.
You know, many of us that are in public service, we hope to have 35 years. 35 active years. And when we were having our discussion yesterday, I shared that when I joined the NTA, my boss then, who employed me, told me, start preparing for retirement today. And we shouted,
it was a good advice.
Our boss does not even like us.
It was a good advice.
But the realities of the day tell us that it wasn't far from the truth. But when do you really start to prepare for retirement?
You start to prepare for retirement now.
After 20 years?
But now is anytime.
The day you wake up.
The day you wake up. Now. It's not tomorrow, it's now. Because everything you do where you are an active service, where it's in the workforce, affects your life after retirement. The lifestyle you live, because you are talking mainly of health. The lifestyle, the things you ate or didn't eat, what you did or didn't do at the active years affects you. Because it's the accumulation of the changes that take place over many years that results in most of the frailties that people have when they retire.
I know health is a big topic. It takes center stage. But let's go from the mental, because we just saw a feature talking about mental health. And yesterday when we were talking with the former Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, he did say that the thing that alarmed him the most was the emotional aspect. He had every other thing, well tidied up. But the transition from the regimented lifestyle he was used to one of supposed ease, where you can wake up when you like and go to bed when you like, was alarming.
Yes.
Amazing.
Even though it was supposed to be a good thing, but he didn't prepare for it. There are exciting activities while you're in service that makes you alert, keeps you renewed, as it were, both your mental and emotional. But when you suddenly find yourself, in fact, you feel you are no more relevant. Authority has been, you have been removed of authority from you, because you were in charge of so many things. You commanded authority. You asked, everything at your command. But suddenly, the money may be there, everything will be okay. But you are on your own. And those who ordinarily would have done a few things to you, giving you some value, you have suddenly discovered that you are not important to them. It's a very big emotional.
A new leader is in charge.
Yes. Yes.
Indeed.
You see that saying, when I was. So something is happening that they cannot tie up with their current status.
So how do we handle that?
there is time for everything. I heard it as I was coming in. There's a time to be in charge. There's a time not to be in charge.
There's a time to hand over.
There's a time to hand over. And in fact, we should take joy and delight that we are able to hand over. And it is this primitive greed that makes people don't want to hand over.
And he shared something with us as well. He said, you should be excited because you beat the odds.
Good.
Not everybody has that privilege of even handing over.
How many people entered service, retired at appropriate time, and went home?
In health.
In health. How many people did that? We refuse to be grateful for what God has done for us.
Okay.
For what we have been for
so the way
society.
to overcome that is to remember to be grateful.
To remember to be grateful
and
remember
gratitude.
That there is time for everything.
One of the things we learned yesterday from the former Controller General was that you must get a roof that you own. So we find that people work in the FCT and when they retire, some move to the village or other small communities, and perhaps it's because they did not build a home. We know that some factors make that they are not able to achieve that, and it's no one's fault.
I will easily tell you.
Okay.
There are three main issues challenges that face the retiree. Health, as we were talking about, accommodation, and health, accommodation, and food, feeding. These three things is basically what
it's challenging retirees.
It's challenging the retiree. Roof over their head, food to eat, and how to pay the health bills. And there are issues here.
Let's tie it together.
Yes.
So when you leave active service, whether you're in public service, the NHIS no longer covers you.
No, they are supposed to be community-based insurance system.
So you are covered until you pass?
Yes.
But in actual fact, are you covered?
That is what the policy says. I am covered.
Okay.
I think most of the things is that people are ignorant. And this thing is just coming up. It's just leaving the civil servant, the civil service is flowing to go to the communities.
So all Nigerians now, there's plans for all Nigerians to be covered.
Yes.
And at every level.
And there are agencies of government that are working hard
to ensure that this happens.
The National
But tell us about the reality
Center.
On ground. What is happening with our retirees
The
now
reality
in terms
on
of health?
ground is not a good thing to talk about because many people in the first place are not even aware about it. In the rural communities, I retire as a community physician, consultant community physician. I work with the people in the community where they live and stay. And many people don't just know what is happening. And they are not interested. They are busy with their thing. They are not thinking about it.
Before we come back to the community, we know that we often say a stitch in time saves nine.
Yes.
Prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
So we know that there are steps we can take while we are still very active that will mitigate or completely obliterate any traces of major health issues as we get older. But we'll continue our conversation. We'll go to Ibadan now. Ibadan has focused on health, especially for retirees. Let's see what they found.
Health, they say, is wealth. It becomes more glaring on one's body after spending 35 years in active service or attaining the age 60. Most civil servants, while in service, pay less attention to their health because of the nature of the work. Resultant effects later at old age are terminal health issues, depression, and weakness of major parts of the body.
Health, they say, is wealth, and people really need to pay attention to their health. Without health, there's nothing anybody could achieve. No matter how smart you are, if you don't have good health, then there's no way you can function appropriately. More so for the elderly, people who have retired, it's quite very important that they do regular checks for several benefits that are associated with doing such. The elderly and the retiree particularly, because as we grow older, our body ages. It means that all the functions of our organs, tissues, part of the body, their ability to function optimally start deteriorating over time. People stress themselves to ensure that they make the end meet. The process of all these stressful activities also accumulate in the body and ensure all our organs and function deteriorate over time.
Some find it difficult to go for regular checkups now that they are retired.
I don't fall sick, even though I have my own personal physician. I just go there, check my BP regularly, check everything that needs to be checked. And regularly, I go to him, he did all he needs to do, and everything is always fine. Even though I'm losing IBP, which is being controlled, because I don't miss my drug. Because it is when you are retired that you don't take care of your health again. But for me, I take care of my health as possible as I can.
It's a matter of free will and choice. If one is informed enough to know that the better your health, the longer you are likely to live. And the more the opportunities you are likely to have, especially with members of your immediate family, your neighbors and your friends, and the more you are likely to be more useful to the society, then one would try as much as possible to ensure that he or she places his health on the front burner. So for me, I thank God I don't have any serious health issue. I exercise on a daily basis, and I make sure I don't sleep at home. I interact with friends and families, and I still engage in community services.
The National Health Insurance Scheme has some health retirement plans for the senior citizens.
We all know that as we age, there are many ailments that come to play in our bodies, going by the years of toils and hard work that people have put in. So at that age, you can't but expect that people will fall sick. People need access to better healthcare services, and NHIS has made the way for this set of people. You know that NHI is an agency of the government that has been saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that all Nigerians have access to affordable and qualitative health care, and making sure that we achieve universal health coverage by the year 2030. And to achieve this, we have made sure that a number of programs have been developed to take care of the various strata of the society, including the aged.
It is of topmost importance to take care of one's health, live a fulfilled and enjoyable life during retirement.
Life in retirement can be enjoyed.
Yes,
Interesting,
it can.
great. And perhaps from all the enjoyment in retirement we're hearing, it may make some people even take the plunge earlier than the 35 years or 60 years
if you
of
plan
age.
early, you can
If you
get
plan
the
early and
workforce early.
plan well.
You can sit down and enjoy.
You bring retirement forward. You don't wait for it to come to you.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the health issues.
Yes.
You heard our package from Ibadan now.
Yes.
The area we were focused on, NHIS. Yes. That medical doctor said it's been provided. That retirees are covered to a large extent.
Yes.
Tell us about that. How well covered is this coverage? And tell us about prevention too. What we must do early on so that retirement indeed
I would prefer to go there. I would
enjoyable.
prefer to talk about prevention.
Good.
So that, see, aging and ill-health comes as a result of accumulation of event changes, molecular changes over time. In order for us to age well and to be healthy, you do things early enough to mitigate those factors that accelerates the loss of function, ill-health, malfunction, which means good what you eat, lifestyle, and what you do. We need to go back to nature. We need to go back to nature. We need to go back to eat natural things. That's why they talk about fruits, vegetables, more. Because see the young people now, with the kind of eateries and the packages that people used to entice them, and they are eating these chemicalized things, everything.
Burger, pizza, shawarma.
They eat the fats, lipids, and
soft drinks.
Soft drinks, loading their body with sugar, loading with fat, and the cholesterol-related issues, cardiovascular-related issues are building up as you are going.
And if left unchecked?
If left unchecked, of course.
Of course, what?
Of course.
Good health?
Good health from where? These are a burden to the system, particularly the heart and the vessels, cardiovascular.
So let's wrap up. I'm told we need to wrap up our conversation soon. Tell us now about retirees and what is happening with them and what we ought to do in 1-2 minutes in terms of their health.
Okay,
coverage,
in terms of health coverage, this NHIS is important. Strengthening the primary health care systems, because 70% of them live in the rural communities, and some of them have responsibility for orphaned children. They have retired from service, but there are orphaned children orphaned by other, their parents have died because of other things, and they are coming back to these retirees who are struggling to keep fit and eat, and they are the one taking responsibility for these children. So it's quite an issue. So what it means is actually that government, there's need to create awareness. We're talking of community-based insurance and all. Many people don't even know about it. So the only thing that we need to do is to create awareness, massive community enlightenment, strengthen the primary health care systems. Every ward in the 774 local governments, at least on the average 10 wards each, and every ward has a primary health center that's almost a comprehensive health center that can attend to people. So planning to strengthen that system and making sure the manpower plan, people are trained from their locality, because some people you post them to certain place, they go 2 o'clock, they close the place and go back to the town.
So somebody from the community is better.
Somebody from the community.
He knows his people.
Yes, should be trained to do this. So he has no place to go, he has no place to run to. So strengthen the primary health care system
as soon as possible.
Expand this community health insurance team to every
more awareness.
Let people know that it even exists.
People from the community.
Prepare, live healthy life.
Indeed.
Lifestyle, the things you eat, the things you do.
Indeed. Because the way we live and the way we eat will be evident in what happens to us.
Better, yes.
We will see it live and direct.
Yes.
We want to thank you very much, Dr. Felix Oyari.
Yes.
It's been great learning from you. You retired from the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada.
Yeah.
You're also doing some business now.
I do.
Are you doing well?
I grew up in the farm as a child. In the
and you're back there.
I'm back there.
Fantastic.
I'm doing some contract jobs.
Perhaps we'll come to you to get some fresh fruits and vegetables. We'll be in touch to get that, okay?
I'll be laying a good foundation here because it will help your employers to give you some assignments. Indeed. Some people take contract appointment and so on. Because possibly the little that was kept in your hand,
you handled it well. Fantastic. Dr. Felix, you gave a good account of yourself, and that's why you are enjoying the benefits now. Thank you. We are learning from all that you have said, and we do not take what you said lightly. Thank you very much for coming on Weekend. We continue to wish you well, and we're coming for those fresh fruits and vegetables definitely as soon as possible. We go to Port Harcourt now, where we learn that Amioku says every morning before he takes breakfast, he tests his fasting blood sugar. Let's find out why.
I know that before I eat, I take anything, I must make sure I check my fasting blood sugar level. If it is too high, I will not eat until when it is a little bit low. If I have enough strips, I will take it again. I'll check it again. That's what I do.
According to Anne Wigmore, the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. Food is one of the necessities of life. It contains nutrients and substances that are very important for growth, repair, and regulation of vital process. The truth is, as we grow older, our nutritional needs change, but maintaining a healthy diet is very vital for our overall health.
Healthy eating has to do with nutrition. Nutrition is nourishing our bodies with the right food choices, that give us the required vitamins, give us what our body actually needs to thrive. By the time we are getting into our 60s, there are a lot of changes. We no longer have the energy to chew. Food no longer excites us like that. Our salivary glands become drier. The things that make food to be very exciting and make you want to eat a lot, all those things begin to reduce.
There is a link between nutrition and aging. As the body ages, it becomes susceptible to certain conditions which can become aggravated with a poor diet. A healthy eating pattern is a solution to many of our healthcare problems, as it is observed that adults who eat healthy meals are more likely to live longer and have a lower risk of being exposed to health issues. Eating right for those with chronic diseases can help manage their conditions and prevent complications.
Taking into consideration what situations they are passing through, could be physical, psychological, emotional. So they are in another stage of life, because some have some issues associated with aging. Some have renal impairments. So the rate at which they absorb food, the rate at which the body assimilates and pass waste may be reduced. So we plan out their meals to fit their needs. But generally speaking, the quantity will definitely be reduced, okay? Both for calories, proteins. What will be on the increase will be fiber, fruits and vegetables, and of course not all fruits.
As our nutritional need changes with age, the question is, what specific foods are more beneficial to the health of older people?
You have something like nice okra soup made with fish. It could be fresh, it could be dried. It should be well cooked, very soft, and soft enough to assimilate as well. Those greens like the ugu, you can make it into a nice sauce with onions, cook it lightly with a little oil and some fresh tomatoes. You toast a little. That can be a side thing added to their meals. With these veggies, they are easy to digest, easy to assimilate, and some of them have other nutrients that help others to be absorbed into the body.
What other activities can help older people stay healthy and remain sharp?
As you are aging, you eat less and take balanced diet with exercise and also with the food supplements. It will help you. The advice I will give to people retiring or about to retire is that they must save towards the retirement and also be active.
As it is often said, the quantity does not matter, but the quality of what you eat. Following a healthy diet has many benefits and is most important for general well-being.
It's interesting to know that your health, you are your health. You are what you eat. When you exercise religiously, it shows. When you eat healthy, it also shows. And you are a picture, a very clear picture of the kind of life or the lifestyle that you have. It shows in everything that you do. We have another guest at this time. He's also retired. I was telling him, I said, Dr. Norma, you don't even look retired. You look very well rested, you're a picture of great health. So perhaps he would tell us whether it's his eating habits or his exercise habits that make him look so well. Nice to have you on Weekend, Dr. Norma.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
Great. Talking about preparing for retirement and life in retirement. And when we're talking with Dr. Yari earlier, he said there's no adequate or accurate way to dot every I and to cross every T. But there are basic things you must take into consideration when you are going into retirement. So now let's focus on the retirement itself proper. I was talking about the emoluments that one gets after retirement. They're very adequate, aren't they?
No. One cannot depend on emolument after retirement, to the best of my knowledge. Well, maybe it depends on the parastatals they retired from. But for people like me, as a teacher, no teacher will say he would depend on his retirement benefits for him to survive well.
So how did you plan? Tell us about the planning.
It's early planning. You start planning from the very first day you join the public service.
Indeed.
Yes. Once you start your planning, then you end up, by the grace of God, very, very well. Now, one of the frustrating things in retirement is for anybody who goes into retirement without having his own personal house. That would be very, very frustrating.
You try to touch on that.
Yes. Now, if you wait for people like us, teachers, if you wait for 1.5 years or 2 years before you get your benefit, how do you pay your house rent if you don't have a house of yours?
Even if the landlord is your brother.
Yes. So you find out that by the time you retire and you don't have your own house, you'll be in trouble because you cannot pay house rent after retirement. It is just impossible, to the best of my knowledge. Well, except those who retired from, GC parastatals, where as they go on retirement, they are given millions of naira, and even their monthly emoluments are so fantastic that they don't have any problem. But for somebody like me, a teacher like me, after retirement and you don't have anything to rely upon, you'll be in trouble. It is not.
So you make sure you put that in place.
Yes, right from the day you start you go into the service, start planning that day. And I thank God that I remember when I was in service, we used to sensitize our young employee that as you are coming into the system, begin to plan your retirement.
But tell us about this planning. We're hearing planning, because we are thinking, like you said, the emolument, one really wonders.
It's not anything.
So then is it from the salary? Because now we're talking about food, school fees, house rent, fuel for the vehicle, money for extended family. Where does the planning come from?
Well,
or we plan with the wind?
Yeah, no. Planning is right from your little emolument you start with.
You must take out of it.
Yes, you must be planning. Now, if your salary is, let's say for instance, your salary is, let's say 60,000 naira per month, right from the beginning, you begin to plan. Now, take for instance, you begin to look for a plot of land. You get a plot of land, you can use 1 year or 2 years to get a plot of land, or even 3 years to get a plot of land. After acquiring, that is for you to save your house now.
We like that. Angle. But if somebody is earning 60,000, after saving for 10 years, you will still be staring at the plot of land like this from quite a distance and smiling.
Now, go with the days where when people used to depend solely on their salaries. Yes, you have to be enterprising. You have to get involved in some subsidiary activities that you begin to earn some small monies, and such monies can now be channeled into such kind of
maybe like farming, interesting.
Like farming, yes, like farming, poultry, poultry, fishing. Now there are so many opportunities now available for young employees to start well.
We're learning now about proper planning.
Yes.
Okay, we're hearing from a retiree now. His name is Jinjiri Umar Shwaibu. He says life after retirement is not sweet at all.
Yes.
But especially for we teachers, because our income, even while we worked, was not enough to invest.
Yes.
Perhaps we'll continue to listen to Mr. Umar. I don't know where you're reaching us from, but let's listen to Dr. Norma. He's telling us that in spite of what you earn, you must take the courageous decision to put something aside regularly and deprive yourself of many of the good things that perhaps your peers who work elsewhere get. Like a flashy car. Like big rents in a nice area.
Yes, exactly. You see, sometimes when people join the service, the public service, for instance, they look at people who are already big, and they now begin to measure themselves, compare themselves with those who are already big. If you do that, you are making a very grievous mistake. Start small and grow big. Now, once you start, you begin to see whatever you can do to plan your future. And it may look insignificant, but at the end of the day, you will benefit. If you are one of those who think that your colleague is riding a car and you want to ride a car too, you don't know how he got his own, car. You have to be very, very careful.
You want to ride a car?
Yes. You don't know how he got a car. You have to be very, very careful. But if you plan small and begin to grow gradually, you get there.
And perhaps if your colleague has a brand new, you can go for a fairly used.
Exactly.
A small one.
Exactly. But you can't go for a fairly used that will come to, deal with you, because sometimes if you don't know how to go for a fairly used one, you go and buy a fairly used one that will come and give you more trouble.
Than good.
Yes. So in that case, you have to be very, very careful. But the thing is that, you see, for us, when we started, when we joined the service, we had no guidance. We were not guided on how to plan very early. And that's why most of those who retired either before me or, about our own time, some people ran into trouble because we didn't receive this guidance or planning for retirement. You see, but I thank God now that most people now that I know very well.
They're getting wise.
Yes, everybody is getting wise because, the economic situations for the past, 20 years, the economic situation has changed that has made people to live with realities of life. So that if in fact everybody is being forced to make sure that he plans very, very well.
You are compelled
to plan.
And if you don't, it's at your own peril. Let's look at the things one can do, because we are also told that while you are working, there must be things you are passionate about. That in retirement, for you to succeed to any level, it is good to focus on things that excite you, that you're enthusiastic about. But we'll talk about that when we return. You are watching Weekend Deal. Dr. Norma says he's a teacher, but not a small teacher. We used to chat with him. We had him on several programs while he was in service. You're watching Weekend Deal. Our focus is on preparing for retirement and life in retirement. We'll take a break now. We'll be back. Before the break, I was having a chat with Dr. Norma. We will continue our conversation, but for now, we go to Makadi now. You are in retirement. Do you exercise? How often? Do you know the proper exercises for your age, for your gender? Do you merge your exercise with healthy eating habits? Well, they did some research in Makadi, and that's what we'll find out now.
Growing old comes with a lot of changes, some psychological, physiological, and even mental. Some of the changes are pleasant and welcoming, while some are unpleasant and uncomfortable. However, issues of longevity are based on genetics and lifestyle choices. An average worker usually finds himself living a sedentary lifestyle, and the effects are felt at retirement. It is no longer news that physical activity plays a huge role in the overall well-being of the human body.
I'm above 60 and I do exercise from Monday to Saturday, every day. That's what is keeping me fit. Free me from hospital, I don't go to hospital. What I can do, most of 32, 35 years, cannot do it.
I am over 50 years old and I'm still very active. I can run very well. I can stand. When I stand with my mates, my age mates, most of them I look younger than them.
Only that I used to exercise before, but this particular time that came to exercise because I had a problem. First of all, I had an operation of the spinal cord. And when I was recovering, I needed a place where I can exercise my body. And I'm getting better, improving my steps.
Exercise is good for everybody, especially for those of us who are getting old. You know, the body needs activity all the time. As you sit down, your body becomes weak. Your blood circulation is slowed down. Your limbs becomes inactive, and you begin to have all kinds of ailments that normally wouldn't be there.
I'm not 32 years. But if I children I'm 32, you can deny because of this exercise. And if I have any ailment or any sickness in my body, when I exercise, it just goes away.
Before the exercise, I used to have a problem with my nails. When I got to the hospital, they told me it's arthritis. So they told me that it's not very good on drugs. Drugs alone cannot help it. I should be exercising my body. Then I started coming and I've been exercising. And since then, I have not been placed under any drugs.
What kind of physical activities should one engage in as we age, and what exercises are suitable for the elderly who have retired from active service?
From the age of 40 to 50, the best exercise that is good for people of that age grade is for them to be walking. But it all depends because our strengths are not the same.
At that age, you need to lessen the level of weight you carry, go with light weight, and most importantly, your routines are supposed to be cardios, which is programs that will regulate your heartbeat, like using the treadmill, walking on the treadmill, and then using the spin bike as well, and also jogging.
Exercise drives away stress. It drives away all these things like BP, sugar level and other. You try to regulate them through exercises. Personally, I am a BP patient, but sometimes for more than 6 months I don't take any drugs until maybe something comes on, something comes up.
Exercises are good for the cardiovascular system as the heart is strengthened and enhanced to pump blood throughout the body. This helps the cardiovascular system work more efficiently by aiding in the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to our tissues. Certain types of exercises are expected to be done by different groups of people.
Cardio is any activity that requires jumping, running, jogging, moving the body as fast as possible without any heavy weight. It makes you sweat more, so it regulates your heartbeats better.
An unexercised body is a disaster waiting to happen. Not getting enough physical activity can lead to heart disease, obesity, high blood pressure, and even lead to decline in cognitive abilities. While physical activity can add years to your life, it can also improve your mood and help to fight off depression. Choose exercise today and you have chosen life.
An unexercised body is an accident waiting to happen. And many accidents have already happened because people did not put that stitch in time to save 9 others. But good thing while relearning about exercise today, it's something that everyone at every level, every point in your life, there's something for you, whether it's cardio, whether it's endurance exercises. Keep your body busy. But first, if you're starting exercise at this time, for the first time, you're just getting into a routine, you must seek the advice of a medical practitioner to tell you what to do. Check your medical statistics, check your health status before you start any routine. And from time to time, you must consult and communicate between your medical practitioner and your fitness coach. They must be in tandem to build that fantastic and healthy new you. Dr. Norma, how often do you exercise?
Well,
Don't you?
For me, I do exercise almost on a regular basis. But sometimes for me, I combine it with farming. So for a farmer doesn't need any special exercise again, because he walks to the farm. He eats and he does a lot of things. So that takes care of almost everything.
So the walking to and fro brisk, do you go at a brisk pace?
You should take it kindly.
Anyway, I mean, you look good. You're an epitome of health.
Yes, it is because one has to be very, very careful. It is your lifestyle. I am very, very careful. I'm being very conscious of my own lifestyle. What I do, what I eat, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. So that you can retire in health. Because there's no point in having worked 35 years, you now retire, and you are in ill health. You'll be a liability on those around you.
Exactly.
You won't even be happy with yourself.
Yes,
matter how good you're planning.
Generally, retirement can be very, very frustrating if there is no provision for it. Provision for it in this case means planning for it, so that by the time you retire, you go and meet that provision you must have made. And you see, ordinarily, we normally say that you don't invest after retirement. You see, it may sound very awkward that you don't invest after retirement. Now, what does it mean? That after retirement, you are supposed to be reaping from
your benefits.
Yes, reaping the benefit of your whatever your hard work. But just as I said, for people like us, for us teachers, at what point will you do real investment that after your retirement you will now go to begin to reap them? This is not easy. And if you have to wait for you to get your retirement benefit before you go to invest, that will be disastrous. Because, let me use my own example again. I spent 1.5 years before I could access my retirement benefits. Now you can imagine that. Now that 1.5 years I spent, how will you survive?
Were you getting the monthly pension while waiting for the gratuity?
No. So you can see why I'm saying that retirement can be very, very frustrating. So that you find out that in most cases, as soon as you go on retirement, the first thing, those things you will be confronted with is that of frustration.
Their bills.
Yes, frustration, because your salary is no longer coming, your benefits are not yet ready.
And the bills don't stop because you are
they keep on coming. They keep on coming, and the problems are there. So how will you feed? How will you take care of yourself? So if you don't have proper planning, that by the time you now go on retirement, then before your benefits come, you begin
what will I be doing? I need something to hold on to.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So people have to be very, very careful, except those who are in the public sector or those who are in the formal sector. Well, I don't know. In fact, the same thing applies to even those in the informal sector.
Organized private sector.
Yes.
You must plan.
Yes,
just strategize and plan.
You have to.
You just have to find a way.
That retirement is inevitable. It's just like death, that it must come. Whether you like it or not, it must come.
And it's good for you to be ready, at least 70%. Well, let's go to Kano now. There's talk about peculiarities in retirement. Wow, what comes to mind? Well, Kano will share more.
During an award night in 2021 Workers' Day in Kano, the then Governor Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje approved the increase in retirement age of teachers to 65 years. This he does in response to federal government gesture.
In Nigeria, people want more years, isn't it? You know why they ask for more years? Because life here is very difficult. If you can survive here, you can survive anywhere. I don't blame them. The thing I pray for is hope that by the time they get to that years, they will still have the energy to work.
I'm not in support of that. I am of the opinion that it is better when you are 60 years of age, or you have reached 35 years in the service, you quit and allow the younger generation, to get the remaining opportunity.
Based on the experiences of some retirees in the state, there is every reason to experience fears of where and how to start after retirement.
you have to make a plan because you are venturing into a new life. Venturing into a new life in the sense that you are losing your previous position, previous status, and previous stand into a new one entirely.
So the implication is life will not be the same as when you are under employment. So it is going to be prepared for well before the time comes.
Issues such as I don't have capital, I don't have idea of any business, and lots more keep disturbing many people that are at the verge of retirement.
Because you see them going to offices, going to your houses, borrowing, asking for this, asking for help, this and that, because they have misused their retirement benefits.
There are instances of workers experiencing one problem or the other, of health or depression as a result of such situation.
Some will start looking for, a house to live. And because I retired probably as a director or as a PAMSEC, I have to, look for a house befitting to me. So they will end up, renting even the house. And when that rent expires, they have nowhere to go.
On the contrary, those workers that in one way or the other have alternative sources of income after salary might prefer retirement life than the work life.
There shouldn't be emphasis on, young men and women to go for government job. They are supposed to be encouraged, to get self-employed, get, what they can do so that eventually they too can become employers of labor.
Civil servants in Nigeria, they have to look what is happening or what is going to happen after the retirement. They have to plan. We have different sectors in the business. We have agriculture and we have fashion designs. We have a lot.
You start as civil servant on grade level, say 8 after your degree. That's where you start. Yeah. Now, gradually you will go to grade level 10, 12, up to 17. Or even if you are lucky, you go somewhere, they give you bigger position without any grade. Now, the higher you go, the hotter it becomes. The higher you go, the more responsibility you get, the more you think of your job, not of yourself or your family.
If you are a civil servant, my advice is that one should start preparing for his retirement immediately he joins the service.
Some believe that workers in Nigeria need to use their extra time to build a business, nurture it, to grow patiently towards a joyous retirement life.
I'll put it back to you. We've talked about the retirees. They need to get themselves checked medically, mentally, emotionally at all times. They need finance in retirement, but they can get lonely. So what ought you to do? Because someday soon, that will be your own position. Support them. Get them entertained. Run some errands for them. Give them information and feedback. Tell them what's happening in Nigeria and beyond. Be their support system. Spread the word to all those that you know that Nigeria we're better and stronger together, whether paying for retirement or in life after retirement. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.